Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Again, it's been a while, but I'm back again. So welcome to episode number 43. Today's guest is a very good friend of mine. She and I met at UCL to do le, 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago, where we were both doing our masters. She's from Indonesia. She's a life coach and she runs a really cool organization called Hey Youth. I'm so excited to have her in my podcast, and she's none other than Uni. How have you been?
Hey, Tanhas, I'm doing good. How have you been?
I'm okay, very busy, but good, Alhamdulillah. And thank you again for joining me. We're going to have a discussion about a very interesting but important topic today. It's something which I feel is relevant to many people, and the topic is how to be healthy whilst working a 9 to 5 or full-time job. I want to start by asking you about the common mistakes that people generally make when it comes to their health in the context of working full-time, that is. What are your thoughts?
So basically, I feel like one of the biggest mistakes is that some people like to treat health as something separate from work instead of something that needs to be integrated into it. So people often wait until they're exhausted, burnout, or sick before paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
There are some common mistakes that people do. Like first one, I think is because of the sedentary lifestyle. So they like to sit whole day without making any movements, and they assume that when they do work out, that will make them less productive because they don't do much work if they do work out or exercise. But in fact, it's like it's not that way. And then secondly, I think people like to skip healthy food and they prefer to drink or consume unhealthy food and drinks. They like to drink maybe um coffee early in the morning, or they consume unhealthy food or something that contains quite a lot of sugar early in the morning, but in fact it's not really healthy. And also, I think it's about ignoring sleep. Some people think that if the more they work, then the more productive they are, but in fact, it's not true. Like, they have to sleep enough, which means for some people it could be like 8 hours, for some others could be 6 hours, so it depends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's also very important for people to understand the stress triggers, so they need to know exactly what sort of triggers that they need to overcome, probably related to the job itself, or they need to know how to handle stress. They need to be more aware with themselves, I guess.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. Thank you, Uni. And I can't help but wonder, do you think, since people lead such busy lives, do you think they procrastinate on their health? Like, do they subconsciously believe that like have the sort of mindset where they think I'll suffer now and I'll take care of my health later? Do you think that's the case with many of us? I'll suffer
Yeah,
now
I think.
and take care of myself later.
Oops, sorry. Sorry, your voice was breaking. Could you please say that again?
Sorry. So do you think that's true? Like a lot of people, they think, oh, I'll suffer right now, I'll struggle right now or whatever, and I'll focus on my health later on. It's no big deal.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's better for them to maintain work-life balance in a sense that they try to focus not only on their work, but at the same time they need to exercise more or do the other things that I mentioned earlier, like have proper sleep, proper meal, and also manage their emotions and stress. I think it's very important not to delay doing those things like later. Like in fact, I believe if they can regulate their lifestyle, then it's highly likely they will be healthier. And also, if they are healthy, of course, it's very easy for them to solve problems at work and become more productive.
I love that, and that's so true. And how do you think we can so touching upon one of the points you've mentioned previously, how do you think we can prioritize exercise more regularly if we're so busy?
Okay, so let me give an example, especially for those who work 9 to 5. So I think it's very important for them to have stick schedule. Like they need to have regular schedule. For instance, if they think that they have enough time early in the morning and they feel like doing exercise regularly in the morning makes them feel much better, then they can do it in the morning, like before work. Because I believe that some people prefer to do it before work, some others prefer to do it after work. Because I would say that every individual is different. Some people may get too tired and exhausted if they do it early in the morning and they don't feel productive anymore once they get to work, but some others think that it's good for them. So they need to understand their bodies first, which is actually very important. Time actually they can exercise. And also, one thing to note is that they need to do it literally, like they need to stick in the same routine so that they don't feel demotivated. Because if they skip it, let's say they already promised to themselves that they will do 3 times or 3 to 4 times a week exercise, and
Mhm.
then they skip, let's say, only a week, which is like they miss some exercises, right? And then eventually they won't feel motivated again the
Mhm.
next time they have to do it. So it's very important for them to make sure that they do it regularly, and then also they can try to find support systems. Let's say like they find friends who are into exercise as well, so they can motivate each other. Or if it's hard for them to find friends, they can also have a coach. So I think coach is also very crucial in this journey, unless they are disciplined enough, because I know that some people are really good at regulating themselves, so they don't care about their mood, they don't care about the ups and downs of motivation, so they can do it. So it depends on individuals, I'd say.
I see. And I personally, I would much rather finish my workout routine during the morning
Mm,
before starting a 9 to 5 job because if I were to work out after 5 o'clock and
mm-hmm,
I do very intense weightlifting or I sprint or whatever, then this could affect my sleep quite negatively, and that's something which I don't want. It would be detrimental for my productivity. So I would much rather do it in the morning, much
mm.
more so than during the evening. Yeah,
Oh, I see.
because sleep is really important to me. I personally get super
Right.
cranky if I'm like short on sleep. I don't know about you, but I just value my sleep so much.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to ask you is, what would you recommend people eat when they're working?
Well, I think if they had to get work, let's say they need to do 9 to 5, that means they also need to be careful with what they eat, because things that people don't notice is that they have to understand, they have to see their bodies like machine. Let's say you bought a luxurious car, and then I believe that everyone in the world will try to make sure that they always purchase like all the products that are good for their cars, right? And then like they forgot that their body is also like a machine. So that means we need to feed our bodies with healthy food.
Mhm.
And again, it depends on individuals, because I believe that some people may have allergies and they need to understand that as well. And then some people are vegetarian, so that means they can't eat meat. So I'd say they need to understand what sort of things that they want to avoid, whether it's because of allergies or it's just about their personal preference, and then make sure that I have to consume all the healthy food and stay away from the unhealthy food. Or although I believe unhealthy food could be tempting as well,
It is.
because it's kind of hard to resist. But yeah, it's fine to eat the unhealthy food, but only, let's say, once a month. So let's say like you want to eat fast food once a month, I think it doesn't matter. But yeah, just make sure like the rest 29 days you need to consume healthy food. I would say healthy food is different for every individual due to the reasons that I mentioned earlier, like allergies or like vegetarians, like personal preference or probably religious purposes, because some people find it's fine to eat fish. As in fact, like based on the research, fish is actually very good for ourselves, for our brain. But then again, some people may have allergies, so I can't really recommend what sort of food that they need to eat. Again, depends on their personal preference and other stuff. And I guess it's also very important for them to eat the food that doesn't contain a lot of sugar early in the morning
Mm-hmm.
because it won't good for them. And in fact, like based on the research, food that contains quite a lot of sugar will bring negative impacts to not only to our bodies but also to our face. So, because it actually may have effect on the inflammation. So it
Mm-hmm.
has a correlation with longevity that which is something that not a lot of people are aware of. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And also about drinking more water, which is also very crucial, just to make sure that they have to stay hydrated during the day.
I love that. I really like how you mentioned that. And I would say, yeah, I would also recommend um I would also advise people to stay hydrated as much as they can because dehydration
Mm,
worsens
right,
the symptoms. And like I would highly recommend people include foods that are really good for their brain health on a regular basis, such as fish, leafy greens, for example,
mm, mm,
like lettuce, spinach, kale, etc., and berries, nuts, whole grains. And this is just a general recommendation. Of course, like you mentioned earlier,
mm,
everyone's different, and people can be creative with how they prepare their meals and whatnot. And
right,
I would also I would also advise people to avoid drinking too much caffeine because this is really bad.
right,
Because this is really because this worsens anxiety symptoms, which affects your productivity.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of anxiety, how can we avoid becoming too stressed when it comes to leading such hectic and busy lifestyles?
Okay, so first thing is people need to accept that some stress is actually normal because it's life. But
Mm-hmm.
then there are several strategies that people can do actually. The first thing is to set psychological boundaries. So they need to understand themselves because like everyone has different triggers, so they need to know exactly what are the triggers for them. It's very important for them to write down like do journaling because they will find themselves like the older they get, I believe they will understand themselves better, so they know exactly what sort of things that they need to avoid. And also it's very important for them to say no without over explaining. So
Mm-hmm.
if they feel that it's already too much at work, and yeah, it's totally fine for them to talk to their manager or their colleagues. Will I think I can't do it anymore because I've got quite a lot of things to do. Just be honest and transparent, and then of course clarifying expectations is also another important thing because uncertainty causes more stress than workload. Because it's very important to make sure that this person actually tries to achieve the KPIs as set at work based on the what have been discussed with the managers, and then the last is micro recover during the day. So it's very important for them to just w- maybe like do some movements. Good, some people like to walk, like do short walk, or like some people prefer to have like gym equipment home, or if they work remotely, I mean if they have to go to the office, I believe some office also provides with those kind of equipments, which is actually very beneficial for the employees. And then also, I suppose it's very important for them to reflect on what they've done well so that they can appreciate themselves and, like have some sort of positive self-affirmation and be grateful and just don't blame themselves too much if they think that they feel stressed and burnout.
I love that. And another thing which I want to add to your points is after work, I think
Mm-hmm.
they should have very strong brown boundaries with themselves. Like they shouldn't like
Mm,
after 5 o'clock is over, they shouldn't do anything that's work related. Instead, they should prioritize more time for themselves. And that could look like going to the park for a short walk, spending more time with family, cooking their evening meal or dinner, like anything that helps them to relax, to wind down a bit.
right.
Because if they still
Mm-hmm.
think about work after 5 o'clock is over, then that won't really, that won't benefit them, honestly. They're just going to continue being stressed.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
shouldn't
that's
feel
right.
guilty about that, honestly, because they have a life
Mm,
outside of work, right?
yeah. But I think sometimes it depends on the company as well.
Oh, yeah,
Some
yeah.
companies require, yeah, require the employees to do work even after 5.
Uh, and I'm going to ask you the million dollar question now. Do you think
Hmm.
9 to 5 is for everyone?
Well, definitely no.
Yeah, same.
I think because I feel like everyone is different. Some people were born to be a founder, like people like Elon Musk, Sam Altman, or I think like there's quite a lot of famous people who chose different paths and eventually they were really successful, like Stephen Bartlett, or yeah, we got quite a lot of figures who showed us that 9 to 5 is actually not for everyone, and especially for women, I'd say, because I think like for women, if they got married, then it should be like an optional kind of thing, which is yeah, yeah. Hopefully, like every woman in this world, well, hopefully again, hopefully every woman in this world get married to men who have provider mentality, so
Mm,
that women can just choose whether they want to work or not, because it should be something that is optional. Because I would say it's much better for women to take care of children, because like take care of children is already like a lot of things to do,
yeah,
and right.
yeah, and it's definitely not easy balancing between family life and work life because maybe I'm saying
Mhm.
maybe it's sort of understandable if a woman has maids, cooks, and whatnot at home, and they could just take care of her usual household chores and whatnot, even if she has a nanny who can look after her children part-time while she works. I think in those cases it could be sort of understandable, one could argue, but obviously this doesn't apply to every woman because not every woman can afford those luxuries, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I personally don't believe that the 9 to 5 work culture is designed for women. I think it's against us because it does
Mm-hmm.
not align with our cycle, you know?
Mm, yeah.
Because like you see, us women, we have our menstrual cycle and we tend to be more productive during our follicular phase, which is like the phase when our period ends until ovulation, and during ovulation itself, those are the time periods where our productivity is like high and we can get a lot done. But when we start experiencing PMS symptoms and when we actually start menstruating, rest needs to be more prioritized. That's just how
Mm,
we are, and we're not bad for needing more rest, and we shouldn't feel bad or guilty for not being like men, and different isn't always a bad thing, right? What are your thoughts about that?
yeah. Yeah, physically, we're different. I mean, women and men, we're completely different, and psychologically as well, we're definitely different. So, um, But yeah, again, because like I believe that everyone has different situation, and sometimes they have to do it anyway because they don't have any choices.
Mm,
But yeah, hopefully, I would say that the world will become a better place to live if men become if they have this kind of mindset, like I mean, provider mentality, so they know exactly their roles in this world is that to provide
mm,
for their wives and for children, so the woman actually can choose whether even if they work, even if the woman choose to work, it's something that she really wants it, she really loves it, not because she has to.
And the work that she does, it doesn't necessarily have to be a 9 to 5 job. I mean, she can be a coach,
Right.
she can be an author. Like there are like, Alhamdulillah, we live in a time where it's easier to have an income, but in a different way, right?
Right. Yeah, I feel like technological advancement has benefits a lot of people, especially women, because like I know quite a lot of people who have remote jobs, and so like the moment after they give birth to their children, then they like after a couple of months, then they could still work again while at the same time taking care of their kids. And like some employers are actually quite nice, like the one that I worked for instance, because the CEO knows that some people need to take care of their babies and that's totally fine. So yeah, I think I'd say that it's something that we need to be grateful for.
Hmm. Alhamdulillah. All right,
Yeah.
Uni, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you in my podcast, and thank you again for participating. I hope the rest of your day goes well. Thank you and take care.